Hi, everybody. This is Jamie, and welcome to Sci-Fi Vision for February 9th for the episode of From Oh, the Places We'll Go. Hi, Scarlet. Welcome. So if you're just getting here, if you haven't, please make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can check out all our other streams and videos and all that fun stuff on YouTube. And also in the description is Julie's channel. Make sure you check that out. She'll be along probably in a few minutes. And then also check out, of course, scifivision.com for all our other interviews. Now, starting next week at 10:30, we're going to be shifting from to Yellowjackets for the Yellowjackets season premiere. And that will be next Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern. Let me add Julie. Hey, welcome.
Hey, Jamie, Scarlet.
Hey. So that will be at 10:30 next week, and we'll have the watch party for that beforehand in Discord. And I've already posted and pinned the Discord link there. So if you haven't joined Discord, please take a minute to do so. And we'll be continuing our From discussion after a while. I mean, if people still want to do a rewatch, maybe we can discuss that. But for right now, our plan is to shift over and take a little From break after this week. So, but yeah, season 3 is about to start, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let me get up the pictures for the episode that Julie was nice and sent me. Could you take them? And I do not. Let me get it shared.
Did she send you all 700 of them?
I hope there's not that many.
It's probably more, actually.
It's probably more. Well, we'll go fast then. All right.
I was gonna say before we started, this is one of the best season finales I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a really good season finale. I had forgotten not a lot of it, but I guess the way I felt when I watched it, I had forgotten some of it, So
because you have like the radio, and then you have Tabitha falling into the cave with the cave paintings, and then you have Boyd stuck in a well, and then the bus pulls up at the end. It's like pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's really a lot going on in this episode, that's for sure. But let's see. Sorry, I was tweeting that. But we start off. Actually, I think it's kind of interesting. I didn't really think about until now as I'm looking at this, but this kind of bookends the two, because it starts the season with us hearing about his little puppets, and he has grown though, because Ethan's. I know in this scene, Julie's asking him if she wants him to tell him a story, and he says he can tell his own stories. Now, I don't know. That to me, we talk a lot, obviously, on this about, is what's happening coming potentially from a story? Could he be telling it? We don't know. I don't know. I just think that line's probably important, but I don't know. Do you think? Whoops, sorry, I was reading what you said. I don't know. How much do you think Ethan's changed at this point, though? I think he has changed a lot since the beginning, but I mean, obviously he continues to grow as the seasons go on.
Yeah, I think he's gone. Like in the first episode, I mean, he was like a little bit more whiny.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and very very young, and I think Fromville's kind of made him a little bit more mature, and plus actually being able to do stuff with his family, reconnect with the family, I think is a big deal of it.
Yeah.
So I think that maturity probably comes from that and being seen by his parents.
Yeah. I don't know.
And plus him and Julie, because in the beginning, him and Julie are kind of fighting, and then there's kind of a scene in the middle of the season where she's like, he's recouping from the injury in his leg, and she's like, oh, do you want to, and they're trying to tell him good stories and everything, and it's kind of like another, threshold with the figure puppets, and then, it leads to this. So it's kind of a regression.
Yeah, it's cool that's why I think it's cool that they circle back around with this. I was trying to think though, what's the other one's name? Harold, and what's the other one's name?
Norman.
Norman, that's it. Norman,
Yeah.
and we're
And
getting
technically Harold, but it isn't
technically
really said
Harold.
except
It was
for
from the
pilot
pilot
script.
script. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I'll
Yeah.
still stick to. But yeah, I mean, we talked to though a lot about, could they be manifesting things? Could it be coming from a story or, pieces from dreams or something? I don't know. It's just interesting that he says that, especially if we do find out at the end that this whole thing's Ethan's story, which I think we've talked about kind of the idea of before. But he said he's telling a story of them going home, his puppets going home.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me wonder it made me wonder as I was watching that, I was thinking about the fact, like, is it possible that somehow as he's doing this, like this manifested the fact that his mother gets out of there? Don't know, but
Mm-hmm. Also, he's talking about the tower a lot, but the tower could also
yeah, he's talking about and we've questioned before, there's a tower on the map. Is the tower the lighthouse? Is the tower just from her dream? Or are they both, sort of the same thing? But yeah, he's talking about a tower. He's talking about them getting away. And it just makes me wonder, like, did somehow this sort of push that issue and make her able to get out?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because he has one of them talk to the other. Let's go to the tower, and yeah, he could be referring to the radio tower, but I don't know. I think there could be a double meaning there. Like, is he manifesting things? I mean, he says to Julie, "I can tell my own stories now," and that to me says maybe there's a viability to that theory, that he's manifesting certain things. I think I kind of like the theory now that children specifically can manifest things in this place, because it all started with 7 children being sacrificed, and they basically manifested that faraway tree with their hope that someone told them a story. It all started with someone who loved them, who told them a story that gave them hope, and they poured that hope into the roots, which became the tree, which is the faraway tree. So maybe other children who come here could also manifest things. Maybe Victor has done it, Ethan has done it, and they don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think the tower also refers to the lighthouse that she ends up going out? That's what you're saying, right?
I think it might. Yeah, that's the vibe that I got.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I just was making sure I understood you. Yeah, but it is interesting though that there's kind of 2 towers in this episode though, because they do talk about the radio tower a lot as well. So it could be a play on words. But I don't think after season 1, do we see the finger puppets again?
Nope, I don't. Not that I recall.
Are they on the stairs? They're not on the stairs when Tabby goes into the lighthouse. Nope. Okay.
No, they were in her dream, but not.
Yeah. Well, they're not physical anywhere else.
Right. So I think, but that might also just be representative of him growing up, just in general. But he tells his story here. Let's see. And then and if I'm going too fast, tell me. Like I was saying earlier, I can't stay super late, but it might end up going too fast because I'm doing it without realizing it. So Jade comes in, busts in like he usually does, whether they like it or not. I really like this scene. Oh, that's a cool picture. Like,
the vision.
But yeah, but he's like, basically, hey, I figured it out. He's saying that about the power with the problem with the power is that you can't plug anything into the outlets, and the wires aren't even wires, so the lamps shouldn't turn out, but they do. So they have electricity.
I like when he walks in though, and he says, "Where's your ugliest lamp?" Oh, this will do.
Yeah, this one is. We'll ruin this one. It doesn't matter. But basically, they have electricity, but up until this point, he hadn't figured out how to connect power to the electricity, how to connect wires. So he takes out the bulb and attaches the wires from it, like splices it into the light bulb or whatever, and then when he puts the light bulb back on, the hair dryer works. And I like this scene because Jade's just like so excited because he figured it out, thanks to Tian Shen. The one thing though, and I think I've mentioned this before probably, but I do question now that they know that they can technically plug things in. I assume they have some wire left. I would think that people would be trying to plug in their cell phones, even if that doesn't work, to call somebody. Although I would still think there'd be people who would be walking around trying. But even if you couldn't, I would like want to see my photos on the phone.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I was thinking the same
Be able to
thing.
use it.
Just the stuff that they're non-internet stuff that's personal you would have.
Yeah. Because I think we talked about that before. Like most people now, I know I haven't printed out or gotten printed photos in so long, just because you start, everything's digital, you don't even really think about it. And that's why like your your cloud and everything, at least I know mine, has become very important. And I watch something like this and I think I really need to start printing out photos because if it's the end of the world, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, you can do those scrapbooks, like the really cool printed books that you can get. Yeah, like you want to do a trip or something like that. I've seen a lot of, like, a couple of my friends have those and they look really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I just haven't done it in like forever. I mean, I do have a good digital camera because I usually take it when I go somewhere, but they still reside on my camera card on the computer. I don't bother printing anything. So yeah, I don't know. I would just think that there'd be that or some kind of personal electronics that people would be wanting to use. Although I think at one point, Ethan, I can't remember if he's using it or they just have it sitting there. Didn't Ethan have an iPad or something?
Yeah, he had a tablet of some kind in the RV.
Yeah. I was thinking they had it in the kitchen, but I don't know if it was on. I think it was just sitting there. And I don't remember when it was.
It might just ran out of juice.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I don't know. I would also think just boredom. Like that's the one thing I was thinking about. Actually, today when I was watching this, I was thinking about how Ethan says, and I think this was the last episode, he had said kind of how the place brought them close together and how you think about how Ellis and Fatima got together because of this place. So there's some good things that come out of it. But I would think, at least with me, like I would be bored out of my mind after a while. They have a couple books there and no TV, no, I guess because I grew up in the age of electronics. I don't know. I would just want to be using something if I had.
I guess I'm kind of different because I grew up in the country and took a lot of walks out in the country and kind of made my own fun. And you can make up games. You could play games with people. You could play the piano. They have some instruments around. You could draw. I mean, Ellis is having a good time being an artist. I mean, if you want to learn an artisan skill, you got the time.
Yeah.
Or learn how to grow, be a gardener.
True. I think I know I'm definitely too dependent on technology for sure. But I don't know. I think first thing I'd be like, I want my phone.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a smartphone, so I don't have that problem.
Oh, well, I don't know what I do. How do you?
I can't have one at work. I can only have a phone that protects the children that I teach if it's not a smartphone, so I can call 911 if something happens.
Okay, but you have a cell phone. I was gonna say you have to have a cell phone.
I have a cell phone. I don't have a smartphone.
You don't. Well, yeah, not everybody does. Kind of depends what you use it for. I'm on mine way too much.
Yeah.
And then the thing is Jade switches gears so fast all the time. He's just like he's having fun and he's doing that. All of a sudden, like, do you have a snack? I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm feeling peckish.
Yeah, it's just kind of random when he says things like that. But he's
a genius.
Yeah. I also wrote down too, I know we had talked about and Severance that torches do, but I think too, like light bulbs makes me think of like enlightenment, Eureka and stuff like that. And Jade's always the one that is figuring stuff out. So
yeah, the great idea, and it's above his head when he turns on the lamp. It's above his head, like a great idea bubble.
Yeah. I need a little meme for that here somewhere. Yeah. Now some of them can do their hair.
Yep. Well, I like that Tabby had it on and it looked like she was kind of breezing it through her hair, like at the end of it. Like,
yeah, she did kind of blow her hair.
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah.
Because I wonder sometimes how they're like, showering, how they're taking care of
I know. I was
themselves,
thinking
what kind of toiletries they have.
everybody has great makeup and hair and everything, and that probably wouldn't be the case, but as a TV show you have to kind of
Yeah. Well, with Yellowjackets, you kind of have to do that too.
yeah, I think that's true.
Though, I mean, they are teen girls. They probably have a lot more product than like other people would have.
Yeah, but at a certain point it's going to run out. Like I always think about dumb stuff like that. Like some of them would need their hair dyed and stuff, and they don't. Those kind of things you don't get. I think Julie must have went back because we had the light bulb already.
Yeah, there are a few repeats in here. Sorry about that, but yeah, they do look.
Like
I think of things I think of things like that too. They look impossibly good for being where they are. Oh, that was the one Scarlet was talking about. It was like the idea.
The light bulb above the head.
yeah, that's a good picture. Dave Fletcher. I mean, they're celebrities. They want them to look pretty in the show, even if they purposely make them look dirty. They still
there's no way
better than they should.
There's no way Victor is not dyeing his hair. Well, where's he getting his hair dye? Like stuff like that.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, those are like the kind of things you just have to kind of suspend your disbelief. That's why I thought it was funny in Severance that they mentioned toilet paper. Because everybody's always like, how did they get toilet paper? You hear the people ask questions like that. Like, I don't know if this town has that. I don't really know that I want to know, but at least sometimes they mention that stuff. So Sarah and Boyd, meanwhile, are in the woods, and she's got her playing with the worm, and this is where she says the worms and the bugs and the
cows.
The cows. Okay, I was gonna say, I guess they do have cows and birds. Do you think they know the horrible things that are surrounded by, or do you think the worm's just like, here's dirt, just like any other dirt? I don't know. Yeah, this is seems a little introspective. The only thing I can think is, like, I feel like the fact that there's worms maybe has to mean something. And I was trying to think, okay, what could it mean? They talk about how you can cut a worm in half and you get 2 worms that grows back.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about the fact that, like, is that potentially, or it could just be reaching and pulling something out. But could that potentially be foreshadowing, that they're going to kill a monster and he comes back?
Mm-hmm.
They're a little hard to kill there.
I think it could also be symbolic of the snake in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
With Alice.
Although that's kind of interesting they didn't find a snake, but I guess probably it's easier to film with worms and have to deal with
it's probably easier to get a worm wrangler than a snake wrangler.
Takes more money. That was the other thing I was going to say. We know there's like a lot of webs in this episode. What do you guys think actually dragged the tent? I mean, do we really think it was like a big spider? Do we think it was a creature? I don't know. I was just curious. I had never really decided and just wondered where you guys were on that. Like, what you think actually did it?
I think the man in yellow can make things move just through sheer force without even having to be physically present. I think he collapsed the house. We saw that happen, and there was some invisible force that did it. It was unnatural. So when they were tumbling around in the tent, you could see trees like all on the outside, like on the other side of the tent, you could see trees. Like it was like the trees were rolling them around. I think the man in yellow can make the trees move, and that's as simple as that. Occam's razor. It was like not a person who did it, or a spider, or anything like that, in my opinion.
No, that makes sense. I'm just curious if there actually is supposed to be like a big spider, because there's so many, whether it moved them or not, just because there's so many webs and all we see are those tiny little spiders. And yeah, I guess they don't want to make a big CGI spider. It'd be a lot of money, and I would prefer them not to. I know, Scarlet, you disagree with me. I don't want to see
very saddened by that statement. That
statement
makes me sad.
I don't want to see it. I mean, because I would say, Abby was, in a cocoon or whatever, but Abby wasn't really there. So it's kind of irrelevant. I don't know. Do you think we'll ever see more of this? Or do you think this was just something that was season 1 we're probably not going to see again?
Oh, they made reference to it, like in season 3. So I was hoping, I got my hopes up, but I didn't see it again.
Me too. The only thing I could see happening is maybe Julie story walking and witnessing it happening, so we could see it from her perspective. I would like that, just to see
Maybe
it
she
once and
moved
for
their
all.
tent. Maybe they were
Yeah.
in mortal danger and she moved their tent and couldn't talk to them. And I'm joking. I'm not serious, but that would be kind of funny.
Had the boy in white pulling the tent, even though he's really small.
Yeah, maybe she's helping them. Let's see. Samuel says maybe if it's foreshadowing, if they don't kill the monsters correctly, you'll just get more monsters. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, like that the worm represents the monsters in some way. And I don't know. It may not, but
Kind of like a Hydra, I guess. You cut off one head and her head grows back.
that's true. Yeah. Well, even just the maybe more of a metaphor in the idea that they killed one monster and things got worse. Like not necessarily more, but just that it's like worse than it was. And we still don't know if Smiley is, has some kind of powers or something. We don't know. We're kind of hoping, I think, but let's see.
like when he arised the second time, he got some more powers, monster powers.
I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping he's different in some way.
Yeah, that'd be
Pop
cool.
Fox says, I think the boy in white is an avatar for Frumville, and he either moves Sarah Boyd closer or further from the lighthouse because it wasn't time for them to find it. Force and Frumville moved the tent. That's possible. I was thinking about, I have more to say about the lighthouse and the boy in white, but I'll wait till we get a little bit closer or we'll get completely off track.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just a territorial line because Tabby got out through the lighthouse, and maybe they just don't want people going past that territorial line.
Yeah.
Until they're ready.
I was gonna say, or maybe it has to be like they have to wait till it's time for them to go there.
And as for the worms, I mean, there's also the manifestation theory that he's talking about cutting a worm in half. It makes two worms, and he thinks worms are creepy. Then he gets worms, what look like worms, under his skin. They appear like worms. So it's, there's the theory that he manifested them. At the very least, this is foreshadowing that he's going to have something that looks like multiple worms under his skin.
Yeah.
So that's
cool. They probably do mean that as well. I hadn't thought about that. You're right. Papa Sox says, is there any thoughts on the whole have the same importance as a hatch and Lost in season 1? I'm assuming he's talking about the holes in the tree. No, Papa Sox, feel free to post questions. I just meant what I was going to say about it.
Tabby's hole?
Oh, Tabby's hole. Yeah, that makes more sense. I just meant that I was waiting for what I was going to say because I'll get off track. But feel free to post things, people. But yeah, you're right. He probably did be Tabby's hole. Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of serves the same purpose because of the sense that, I mean, whether you've seen From or not, when they get to the hatch, it's kind of like this big thing that they find a door and you want to know what's on the other side. You want to see them go through it. I think that the hole there sort of serves the same purpose because you're waiting for her to dig through it. It's not necessarily exactly a doorway, but it kind of is. I mean, they end up underground in the tunnels, which will become a bigger thing, next season, which technically the hatch was underground too. So you could draw that same parallel.
And they both had a mural. They both had a weird mural too.
Weird mural. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that blast door map. Let's see what else. No, feel free. I just might skip around. That's all, Papa Sox. If I go to it after, I'm not ignoring you. That's all. So let's see. So yeah, I think that that's definitely an important part, though. And Boyd has his keychain. He's still thinking about, and I think at this point, does she ask him about fish and loaves here, or is that later? That might be later.
I think that's later.
Yeah, they're doing it, so we're kind of remembering about it.
Maybe not. Wait, no, I think it might be in this scene.
I don't know. I don't have it written down there, which makes me think. But she asks who at any rate, she asks who Mr. Fish and Loaves is, and he says that it was his name from the service.
I think that
later when she talks, isn't it?
What?
I think it's later when she talks about hearing his wife. I think actually it might be.
I like this keychain. It's almost one of those squishy balls. Maybe he just carries it around so he can push on it.
Yeah, maybe. I think that it was also for the effect of showing his hands were shaking too.
Oh yeah.
because they did show that. So we'll go through more worms. Worms are creepy.
Love worms.
You love all creepy things.
Well, we wouldn't have like worms. You know, all the garbage and stuff that's in the world, worms break that down. If we didn't have worms, we wouldn't have compost. We just have garbage everywhere.
All right. That's
spokesperson for the worms.
I still don't want to see. No, I don't know.
Yay,
worms aren't. Not that I don't really like worms, but worms aren't as bad as spiders. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So Papa said whoops, wrong thing. Says I'm going to start a thread to have the writers find a way to bring Abby back. I don't know that would happen, but that would be cool. Maybe they'll put her in more flashbacks.
I mean, she keeps kind of showing up throughout the seasons.
Yeah, she does come a couple times. We see her in flashbacks and his visions or whatever you want to call them. So this is where Jade comes to the diner and is telling everybody about they need to get wire from the lamps inside Colony House to go out to the radio. So they need to get anything with cords from appliances, electronics, things that they brought in the cars and everything. And the two of them are saying that they need to get people to help them. And this is where we see there are a lot more red shirts. You know, a lot of I wish they'd use the same extras because it kind of annoys me. Like you see these people you never see again, and then we get different extras later.
Like these two people behind Julie. And then, but I think I see the bearded guy before because I think he's helping on the radio tower, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, some of them might be in before, but a lot of them I know aren't in like season 2 and season 3. They just get new extras. And I understand that. I mean, they're not paid a lot. They just kind of randomly hire people and they don't worry about it. But yeah, look, that is an awesome picture. He looks like he's singing into the into the hair dryer. But he's, kind of like they're hoping can save them, and he's explaining it, and this is what you need to do. And
we can also show the shiny ceiling because of all the mirrors in the show. You can like buff up the ceiling so it reflects.
Yeah. Well, I think this show deals some with reflections and things like that too. But I think Kenny. I lost where I went. He said, oh, I know. Jim said he's going to go look through the storage to see what's in there and tells them to go other places. And if they get enough stuff, they can have a transmission by nightfall.
All the places they'll go.
Yeah. The
fine wires.
Yeah. And I was gonna also say that's what a book, isn't it?
It's a Dr. Seuss book. And a lot of people I knew when I used to live in California got it for their high school and or college graduation. It's very popular to give as a gift.
I
never got one.
Sure. I was gonna say I don't know that I've read it, or if I did, it was so long ago I don't remember it. But I think that I was just curious. Kind of, I did want to talk about that, like why exactly this is titled that, because I think it could be twofold. It could be partially that they're talking about the places they'll go when they get home, but also I think it's talking about the whole Kenny Christie thing later when they're talking about where they want to go, and this is kind of like the whole
and all the places the bus will go, and all the places Boyd will end up. There's so much places where people go in this.
I guess if you take it a little less literal, there are quite a bit of places. Let's see. Samuel's talking about worms still. Papa says, I had a theory the reason they used extras was because they were to have a masker and they didn't want us fans getting attached to the extras, but that was wrong. I mean, it could be, but I think, a lot of times I think it's just because when they hire extras, they hire whoever's around who's available for that time, and they're not like under contract to come back.
Yeah.
So they don't usually get the same people. It's just like local people that are around, at least as far as I know.
Unless somebody has the hopes of getting a couple lines like Clara does, that they might develop that into a character later on.
Yeah, but usually they find that out, I think, fairly early on. Otherwise, they're just extras, and a lot of times you don't see them again. I just find it kind of annoying because when you're watching a show like this, like we're looking for so many clues, and you're like, who are these people? These people weren't here last year. So
It,
yeah,
it
I
only
don't know.
it only bothers me like the episode with Eric because they tried to make a big deal about Eric and we hadn't even seen Eric before.
Yeah, like I wish they'd at least take a couple of the extras and put them as like characters in the scene so you see them. It's like with season 3 in Cannibal Village, we get a couple that like are there a lot with Jim,
Yeah.
and they have a couple lines, and it's like, who are you?
Yeah.
We don't know
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah, I always pause it on Amazon. They tell me the names of the characters and the actors. Sometimes it says County House resident, but that's that, I guess.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
like like before the massacre at County House, like Trudy had a lot of lines. So I was sad when Trudy died. I knew a little bit about her, and they could have done a couple scenes of Eric before Eric hung himself.
Yeah.
So
Well,
and
the only thing that I can think is that maybe like Eric dying was more a scene to serve the story that they came up with later, and they're like, wait, we need a character to do this too. Earlier you dissected whether there was a double meaning in the worms. Do you as writers ever have characters just say something cool just because? You mean to us specifically, or I guess he means to us?
I've written things. I have characters that were in my book that is kind of like the 1930s, and they're always saying kind of cool slang and stuff. So yes.
Yeah,
cool
I mean,
slang.
I haven't really written a book, but yeah, I kind of think the same thing. I do think sometimes they just say things because they're cool. I think a lot of times I get the opinion when after talking to the actual from writers, that a lot of times they've done things and didn't have a deep meaning, and then the fans are giving it deep meaning, and they kind of look like, what? Okay,
like,
sure, that was a good idea. Yeah,
like
that was a good idea.
For one.
Yeah, and Cooey. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that's the case. But I don't know.
Yeah.
If I do think though the worms
my
may
favorite shot.
One of the things that we mentioned.
I
love that Jade's like still just standing there on the on the bench there. That's great. And let's see.
You get a view of a lot of the red shirts though.
Yeah, we do. But we probably won't see him again, so there's no sense getting too attached there.
The place.
Yeah, Jade on the bike. Julie comes out. She's pissed. Now, Jim calls, Jade calls Jim Teacup because he worked on rides at amusement parks or whatever. So he's like on the teacup rides. And
I love teacup rides.
Yeah.
I like a good teacup ride.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the ones that spin really fast though, but I don't think I've ever ridden the ones at Disney. But like when you have the smaller amusement parks, sometimes they have the ones that like whip around. Those are fun.
Yeah, the ones at Disneyland you can spin around pretty fast.
Can you? I can't remember if I
those ones. Yeah,
I might have. I've only been to Disneyland, not even Disney World, Disneyland once, long time ago.
I lived in San Diego, and so many people I knew had passes and stuff when that was cheap.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I got to see it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, we went one day. That was been my extent of my Disney experience.
Yeah,
so, and I was
right?
Oh, 15. No, I'd have to think. No, I was 17. I'm sorry, I was 17. So yeah, that was a long time ago. But anyway, she gets all upset and she's like, "Don't call him that." I guess she's like defending him on his behalf. I don't think Jim even cares.
Well, I guess she just feels closer as a family, like Ethan was saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just saying I don't think Jim cares one way or another whether he calls him a name. I love though he's like, okay, but I'm gonna call you Sparkplug.
But then he never does.
And then he never does. You're right. Although it made me wonder because I was trying to think of stuff to, different things in this episode to break down. And I'm like, I wonder if that could be anything. I looked that up. I never thought of. And it told me that spark plug is a crucial component in an engine. And it made me think about the fact that Julie has become pretty crucial to the story. Whether that really means that, I don't know. But I'm going to say it does because that's what I got out of it.
Well, your spark parts don't work, engine don't work. So,
yeah, very true. Very true. But it's a cute scene. And I like that he's kind of not bonding exactly, but kind of. He's getting closer to people and he's getting better at communicating with people. which
Well,
is
he
nice.
could at least respect the fact that she was defending her dad.
Yeah, right. But he teased her, and it was just cute.
Yeah,
It's
that's funny.
like he's learning not to swear as much in front of Ethan and things like
Yeah,
that.
but he did when he came in with the lamp.
Yeah, but he's like, sorry.
He threw an F-bomb, and then he was like, sorry.
Yeah, but at least he apologizes at the beginning.
Yeah,
he
that's
never
true.
apologized.
That's true.
Well, I kind of wonder he's going to have to sort of be more of a father figure, I think, to Ethan as time goes on now. So that might be.
Yeah.
Agree. Hey, why does that car have no license plate? Just out of curiosity,
Does it need to have one where it's at?
No, I'm just curious why they ripped it off. But I think didn't Victor had a lot of the license plates?
He had a stack of them. He had a stack of license plates. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wondered. I happened to notice it as a one thing. I love his shirt. That's so cute. Little kitties.
Different tabbies.
Yeah, different. You're right. Different tabbies. We talked.
Different tabbies. Haha.
Yeah.
Joke.
So, we get another look at the map. Yeah, it's funny. It could be that. So we get another look at the map. Donna's checking it out when Kenny comes in, and he tells me his speech, and she says it's probably for the best. He says he's going to help Chrissy get wires and stuff from the ambulance, and she talks about all the different roads that everybody ended up there. And do they really think a radio signal is going to make a difference? And he talks about it traveling in ways they don't know. And the whole point of the scene is he picks up his globe lamp that he wanted to take with him. There's like stuff written there, but I can't read what it is. It's probably just where they marked where people were from, I guess. But it looks like some things have been scratched out. So I don't know, maybe people that were there died. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe people came in that died. I'm not sure if Julie's still. I know she left for a minute. I don't want to not give her to talk. But yeah, we get to see a little bit. I wish that they talk more about, the whole. I mean, I guess they do later, but about the whole idea where people came from and. Is it important where they came from? I mean, we've kind of obviously.
Or is there's a pattern or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know that from has to mean something, so it kind of makes sense to think it might. But he takes his globe, and that's again connected to the places we'll go.
Oh, the places we'll go.
Oh, the places we'll go. We've made him into a future stepdad. Yep. I'm just saying he's becoming better at talking to kids. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the fact they called this ambulance Troy, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I know
we've
talked about that before, but yeah, this time they actually talk about it like a person because he's like, "How's Troy feel about giving up the goods?" Yeah. But this is when he explains about his lamp that he has, the globe that he brought with him. And even though he couldn't use it, he brought it into his office or whatever, because it made him think of home. And he says his roommate was a klepto and he hid things in it. And this is where he pulls out the drugstore receipt. And I was starting to think about like, okay, what could that mean? And I thought about the fact that like wherever they're at on the map is hidden, like we don't know where it's at. So maybe it kind of represents that idea of like a hidden place or how it could be, Wormhole's place, whatever. I don't know. I was just kind of spinning off of that and trying to figure out something there. But
there was a really old theory that when you saw the U.S. map, it didn't have Atlanta listed. And it had all the other capitals and bigger cities in the U.S. So Frumville had to be there because it wasn't on the map. Those crazy stuff like that.
I was going to say, I think if it was like a normal place, though, they probably would have figured that out by now, I would think.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Hey,
well, if it was a pocket dimension next to Atlanta. By way of.
Maybe.
Or Hell, Michigan. Hell, Michigan was brought up because Troy's by Hell, Michigan. Which I thought was funny.
Yeah, it would make sense if they were in hell.
They were in hell, but it's Hell, Michigan. But it's just a pocket dimension near Hell, Michigan.
Yeah, could be. I'm wondering if we're ever going to find out where the place actually is because I don't know that we really need to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to know kind of what it is, but not necessarily where it is.
But maybe it's not in a place at all.
You're right. It could not actually be a physical place. But I guess that was just kind of my idea that I'm thinking about the fact that the location is hidden and he hides things in that globe.
Mysteries.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Trying to get my mouse over there. Papa Sock says, what are the most popular theories thus far in the meaning of from? Like, is the perspective from the view of the monsters, from an alien abductee's viewpoints? I think there are a lot. I'm assuming he means specifically to the title. I mean, I don't know. I have mostly heard that it might be about where they're from. I mean, that's kind of where I think it has to have something to do with. And we've talked about before from in the sense, not like just literally where they came from, but like their heritage too.
Yeah, because it's marketed in other countries as Origins, which is a better name than From, actually, because you could probably look it up and find it quicker. It was Origins.
That too. Yes, I've complained about the Google aspect before.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, origin though too, like, is it possible that this place is like the origin of something else? Like maybe this place, things come from this place as opposed to where things come from, but like that the place is creating something. Like maybe that has to do with it. I don't know, but I definitely think the title's important, or they would have told us by now because they don't want us to know.
Or it comes from a child's imagination, or it comes from people's
story.
fears, you know, manifestations therein.
Yeah. I would say that that's the kind of things we've talked about. Has there been other theories people have had about what from means? I don't know. I've really heard a lot on the theory of the title. Most people just wanting to know what it is. I haven't heard about the perspective from the view of the monsters. That's kind of interesting. Maybe someday we'll get an episode.
Well, I guess that story begins with them, right? The whole story of
it
From.
does. It does begin with them.
Begins with them.
Yeah. I don't know. I just do hope they tell us. Maybe David says from darkness to light.
Or aliens.
Enlightenment.
People. This is kind of like an alien, kind of like a Dark City kind of thing going on.
Oh, I love that movie. I haven't seen that in like forever.
No, Julie hasn't seen it. I'd like to do a watch party and have her see it.
Yeah, she should watch it. I don't think she's here, so she can't hear us. But yeah, she should watch it.
But like the advertisement board with the lady with the pineapple and From reminds me a lot of Dark City.
Oh the seaside, it kind of does.
The seaside thing,
You know what's funny, and I don't know. There's some movies like that like I love the movie, but I swear, like every time I watch it, I forgot half of what the plot even is. I don't know why.
Because the aliens make you forget every night.
Yeah, I guess they do. It's like the silence on Doctor Who. So yeah, I'm always like, what is this about again? I know I loved it, but I don't remember what it was about. David says Plato's cave from ignorance to enlightenment. It would definitely, I think, be interesting if whatever it is that they figure out here has some like huge greater purpose. I don't know that it does, but it would be kind of interesting. And are you saying it was created before humans were created? I don't know. That's what I was just saying. Like, is there maybe something that came from this town, or that the town created, or that came to be because of it, that it was kind of like the birthplace of something, not necessarily of human civilization, although who knows, maybe it is.
Or it could be like aliens that came before humans, or spirits or gods that came before humans.
Maybe this is like the primordial, soup. That's not the right word.
Primordial soup.
I couldn't think of the right word.
Smiley crawled out of the primordial soup.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the word from has to have some kind of context. But I would say it's likely that regardless of what the context is, it probably could be meant in the way of origin if that is the title in another country. However, that being said, the fact that it's a title in another country, it may be the other countries that come up with the translation. You know what I mean? It isn't necessarily the writers or whatever that come out.
Well, and origin kind of leads strongly from another country people come from, but origins can also be the beginning of something.
Yeah, that was why I said created. That was where I got that from when I was saying that.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking origin story, and
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, or another dimension that fell into our state of being. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that could mean. Um, I mean, maybe it's something much simpler though. Maybe it's just the
Mhm.
idea that all these people came from different places and came
Mhm.
together and became this family in this place, and that's
Yeah.
what became. I mean, it could be something simple like that. It's really
Mhm.
hard to tell. I mean, I kind of hope that there's more to it than that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. But he has all the places he wanted to go
All the
on this.
places will go.
All the places will go on this drugstore receipt, and yeah, maybe in an alternate world he got to. He wanted
A
to go
super
to.
long. Have you ever gotten those super long drugstore receipts?
Yeah, they go on forever. It gives them right on. Costa Rica,
Yeah.
Hawaii, and Iceland. They talk about, and that's where she says she's hardly got past Grand Rapids.
Mhm.
And I think that I don't know if she mentioned Grand Rapids before this episode. I'm assuming that this was brought up so it highlights the fact the bus is from Grand Rapids.
I think she might have brought it up before one other time.
She
I
might
don't know.
have, but I do think
I'm
that's
really
why
pro Michigan, like pro, like, yay, cities that are not Detroit, they're in stuff. That's Michigan, yay.
yeah. No,
So,
I think they brought it up so you would notice that
yeah.
for the end of the episode. But anyway, he
Mhm.
says, maybe someday they'll get to go
Mhm.
together there if the radio works. From is morph backwards. The monsters can morph into normal-looking humanoids, infiltrate the town, and attack real humans. That is true, although not how you spell morph, but it is true.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's good. I
No,
like it.
yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah, I like it too. That's interesting. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to get through their little ambulance thing here. He's looking at the receipt.
Mhm.
And now I'm thinking like from a props point of view, I'm curious like if they actually made that receipt or somebody just like grabbed a receipt.
Somebody this problem.
Let's just use this as a prop,
I just went to CVS. Here's my receipt. All of
Yeah.
it.
No, I don't know. It was kind of funny. Is that sounds like Julie's back. Are you back, Julie?
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I just didn't want to not give you a chance to talk. And I'm like, I don't think she's here. So I guess I was right. You
Yeah.
still weren't here. Do you have anything up to this point that you missed that you want to interject?
Well, not really, I guess. I just felt bad for Kenny in this scene.
Yeah, I did too.
And I think the emphasis on the globe and the map in this episode, it was just kind of planting the seed in my head that like this place that they're in is not, it can't be found on any map. Like Donna was staring at that map. It's she was right. They got there from all different places around the country. Like, do you really think a radio signal is going to get us anywhere? Like, this place, wherever they are, it definitely can't be found on a normal map or a globe. So I think that was what we're supposed to take from that.
Yeah. Let me ask you what we were talking about, the part that you missed though. What are some of the theories you've heard about what the title mean? You might kind of say the same things probably we've been saying, but do you have anything like specifically you've heard or that's interesting dealing with the title?
Well, the fact that it's a children's book title again, it just brings up the theme of children's literature in the show, and it feeds into the theory, I think, that children's stories could be at the heart of everything. Like the children are, like the original sacrificed children are the reason for all of this, manifested the place basically, and maybe other children can too. And children's stories keep popping up again and again as themes in the show. There's this title. The season finale of season 2 is called Once Upon a Time. Like, it just, this emphasis on children's literature is everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think it's more than just about this conversation between Kenny and Christy about the places they'd go if they leave.
Yeah, it is. Sorry though, I meant like the title from. I meant the title of the series. That was my fault. I didn't explain what I meant.
Oh, the title from. Well,
yeah, from, not a. But you're right. We that what you said, everything you said is right about from the places you'll go. But yeah, I meant specifically about from because Papa Sucks was asking about people's theories about the show's title.
Well, to me, it just there's nothing else it could mean other than that this show it's about where all of these people originally, I mean, where Tabitha and Jade originally came from, the the reincarnation, that origin story, and where the monsters came from, like where the origins of everyone. It's not about the geographical places they've come from on a map. It, like everything, it goes back to the roots of what started the place. Everything now that is happening, it's derived from that origin story where the people sacrificed their children to live forever, and Jade and Tabitha were reincarnated, and so it's all about unlocking that mystery of their past, where they came from. That's how they need to solve the way to get home. That's what it's all about. That's what I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it could be, but I just, like I was saying before you came back, I just hope whatever it is that they explain it somewhat, and that it's something important, or that it's connected to something important. David's talking about a play on words. I think they said Ankui. That was just what they made up, so it really didn't have. Unfortunately, although they could have gotten the idea maybe and not really known it. And, were influenced by it without realizing.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is about the extras again. Papa Sock says, I think the thing that's strange to me is logically, even when not on screen, the extras should be doing something that lends to rescue, escape, trap, hiding place, etc. They just sit. Yeah, these people a lot of times don't really do much helpful, do they? They're like Jade.
Yeah, but maybe they've learned if they push, it pushes back. I mean, we don't know where a lot of these people come from. It's like they could just, have done something when they first came here, and then it pushed back, and then they were like, well, that killed my family, so that's not worth it.
Yeah. But you would think they'd at least be like, they don't have jobs there. Like they would at least be helping cooking, or I don't know.
Well, they do. The county house people grow crops. They have the greenhouse and those boxes, and they
do.
forage.
We see the downtimes, I guess, a lot.
Yeah.
He's asking you, Julie, does Tabitha and Jade's story satisfy everyone else as being there for you? Oh, the other people being in the town, I guess.
Well, it's not that it's just about their story. It's that their story is why all of this is happening now. None of this would be happening if it wasn't for the origin story of the monsters being, those people being turned into monsters because they sacrificed their children, and Tabitha and Jade were unable to save them. So all of this stuff is happening. All these people are being pulled in here, and this place exists because of that, because of their origins and where this town came from, where Tabitha and Jade came from. And I think unlocking the mystery of that and how exactly to save the children, how that's what's going to break the cycle in the end. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. I do though question sometime, like if some of the people did just get sucked into being there because of them, like that kind of sucks. I do think some of the other people are important there. Maybe not that they're reincarnated, but and he's saying if we were trapped in Fromville, we wouldn't just sit around. We would do something meaningful, no matter how small. And I'm talking about I'd be on the cell phone looking at pictures, right? So
I'd be drawing, learning stuff, learning languages, playing games with friends.
yeah, no, I think I'd be like Jade. I'd be like trying to figure everything out and driving myself totally insane. All right, whoops, back to the images here. So yeah, I agree. I feel bad.
I think there's just a difference between biding your time well and then fighting against a force that might punish you.
Yeah. The other thing is I think they're there a lot of times, the like in the scene where he's talking, and that the background actors are kind of just there to be background. They don't want them to stand out either. So if they're doing something, it might have been more.
I don't know. Some of them stand out to me, like the guy who's handing out apples later. I always watch his performance. So guy who's passing out apples, later on, I see you. So if you're listening.
Well, everybody needs their apples. I was just going to say,
knowledge,
back to what Julie was saying, I do feel bad for Kenny in the scene. And what I think is interesting and kind of fair is that he's saying the same thing to her in this scene that he says later. And she doesn't say anything in this scene about, oh no, this is the scene she says it. I'm sorry. I thought that was later and she skipped it. No, she does say here about her being engaged. She's like, I'm engaged. So yeah, I feel bad for him. I mean, she's acts like she likes him and yet she's still hung up on her fiance, and I get it. But it's like, and she's kind of like, do I move on? Do I stay stuck? And we've theorized before that maybe it's because of her that Muriel ended up showing up.
Just when she thought, because there's almost a scene later where it seems like she's gonna be on Team Kenny, and then the ball spills in.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's there to make conflict, but I'm curious if Christy somehow brought it there with that.
Oh, and when she was talking to Sarah really early in the season.
Oh, that's true.
Sarah asked her if you did one
again?
Yeah. If you had to do something that was bad, but you could see, what would you do to see, your fiance again? Would you do it? And she's like, yes, I'd do anything.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
So, definitely a chance she manifested that.
Yeah.
Papa Socks thinks that Sarah, Boyd, Donna, Father, Cautry, etc. stories can't all be tied to Tabitha's storyline. There has to be more in the origin story. Yeah, I mean, I think that Tabitha and Jade's stories, I don't want to say started it exactly because it was more the sacrifice that started it. But I think that Tabitha and Jade, and I don't know, maybe Julie feels differently, but she's muted, so I'm not sure if she went off. I think that Tabitha and Jade are the key players, but I do think other people are important. I don't think that they're only important because of Tabitha and Jade and their descent or who they're reincarnated from.
Yeah.
So let's see. Golden Child says, at the time the children were sacrificed, why is it hard to believe that all the present residents hold a relationship to the original residents? No, I think they all could. I mean, I don't know. Some people I feel like might be random though. And maybe that's just because of Lost, I feel that way. But I do feel like some people were just there along for the ride. Like, I don't think every person that was on that bus was important because some of them died. But I think some of them were important. I think a lot of them were important.
Well, I mean, they could all be, but we haven't seen it yet. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
Could
but,
be, though.
And even the ones that died, obviously, some of them were important. But yeah, but I know he has the idea, which I think is kind of interesting, that they could be like descendants, like related, but not necessarily.
Yeah, because of origins. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of historical references, like Taryn and a lot of people write about, like, oh, these are all like from European groups that came in and like, made the Inuits' life hard, like the French, like the Spanish, like each of these people are represented by a character.
Yeah.
Coming from different countries to America.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that could be the case. I don't know. I do hope that that's one of the things they go into. I feel like that's one of the things they may not go into though. Like, I think we're going to get, I don't know why, but I just feel like we're going to get a very brief explanation of the title if we get one, and it isn't going to be that deep. But
some of them would come over because Kenny's family with their last name harkens back to people who first made fireworks for like Henry VIII or Henry VII or something like that for a party.
You've definitely researched a lot of stuff I have not. So.
Oh, I just read his stuff. I didn't research it.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you looked up all their names. I didn't know.
No.
But
I think it's interesting to think that these people might have, like, like what you're saying, they're all there for a purpose from these different countries throughout history, Yeah. And they all come to Fromville for a purpose.
Yeah, they're all led there, whether by happenstance or by purpose. They all, are there. I mean, technically they're all there for a reason or they wouldn't be there. But I think some of them are kind of like less connected than others, I guess. So Tom opens the shed for Tabitha and he asks why he's not helping with Colony House, and he's like, why am I not working on the magic tower to bring everyone home? And she's like, you don't think it's gonna work? And I like what he said, though. He's like, I've seen lots of people with clever ideas said they could get out of here, and they always end up at the bar.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been a while.
And that's the problem. Once they get to the bar, they become alcoholics, and they just, become like Frank Pratt and just drift out of life.
Yeah,
They get broken.
they do. That's true. And they give up. They give up too
Mhm.
easy, I think. I think that's the one thing about Tabitha and Jade. Clearly, they don't give up. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't know they keep coming back. But she gets a pickaxe at this point. You kind of know this is probably not a great thing.
Yeah.
She's pulling
Yep.
out her pickaxe. Is there somewhere? I'm assuming she got a picture of it. There we go. There's the pickaxe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we're back.
Finish the job.
Yeah. Then we come back to Colony House, and that guy looks like his back hurts or something. He's not having a good time. I like when you get candid shots of people like that. It's like, what is this about? But Ellis wants to talk to Fatima, and he's like, I want you to come with me. And he gets her to come outside. And she finally agrees. She's like, we're busy. There, that's an ugly lamp. They can take that one. They can't take all the lamps. They want to have some light left in the house.
Yeah,
you know?
I was gonna say the same thing. They need a couple lamps around just for the light.
Yeah. Well, maybe they
Not
can
that
always
one,
read.
though.
There, they took a phone off the wall. Which is kind of interesting because you would think, well, we don't use the phones, we don't need them, but the phones become important later. So maybe they shouldn't have taken that phone off. Maybe they would have gotten a phone call too.
Yeah.
We don't know because they took it off. So they go. He brings her out to the greenhouse because he says that was where he first saw her when she drove into town. And he tells her that,
there's nothing more. I was gonna say there's nothing more romantic than bringing somebody to the beginning of their trauma.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But
remember all the shit started, Fatima? Oh, it's so romantic.
Yeah, we'll just keep bringing up the bad stuff. But he's thinking about, she had said before that they only knew each other there, that like who were they without being in that town. And I was going to go back. He was saying, see how everyone's busy with a purpose in the picture. Yeah, well, in here they're finally doing stuff. They're working right now. So
yeah,
I just think whatever.
We'll never know the full extent. I'm sorry, Jamie.
No, go ahead.
No, we'll just never know. I mean, they all do have a purpose, even if it's small. But I want to know more about that. I want to know about all their stories, but there's no time. These aren't 22 episode seasons.
Yeah, of course, that's very true.
But they can all have a purpose.
My point was, sometimes I think they don't, because they want them to be unobtrusive. Like they're extras. They're not. A lot of times, extras are meant to not be seen.
Yeah.
There's also that. But yes, most of them serve a purpose. They just don't always show it. So he tells her about this is where he first saw her, and that his life changed, and that he doesn't even remember what his life was like before he met her. And he basically gets down on his knee and proposes to her. And she says she loves him, and they kiss. And he does give her a ring that he made out of wire, which is funny because she's like, was this for my pile?
Yeah. I want to know what her pile has in it.
Yeah, I know. Like that was kind of an odd line, but I guess she was going through the wire, so she knew he took it. Let's see.
Heaven forbid they take the wire. I mean, that's wire they could be using.
That's true. Yeah, that's not good. That's true. Fletcher says it doesn't need to be reincarnation for every person in town, and this can all just be a story from Ethan's mind. So in the end, the characters don't mean that much if it's just a story. And he hopes it's more than just Ethan, though. I mean, I don't think the whole. I mean, again, we don't know, but I don't think the whole thing's a story. I think when we say that, at least we're kind of more meaning that maybe some of the things that are in the place have come from a story or come from their mind.
Things
Not
that
necessarily, Yeah, not necessarily that the whole show is taking place within a story. I mean, that's not to say it couldn't be, but at least when I say it, that's the way I mean it. But yeah, there's got to be some purpose that we don't want it to end up just to be these things to be unimportant. And I don't think they are unimportant. I think that they will, become important.
But I don't think Ethan's making a story like, and here are our young lovers,
Yeah.
by the greenhouse.
Yeah, I kind of don't think so.
Quest for the ring.
Yeah. There's actually like later, I was thinking for some reason that he found a ring on somebody, and I don't know where I'm getting that from. I was thinking they found one, but I probably just, I don't know, made that up in my head. But you know what would be cool? I'd like to see, they need to make like either little webisodes or like a graphic novel or something. Like I'd like to see of these other people's like stories. Like you're saying, like these back stories we're never going to get to see. I'd like to see somebody write it, even if it's just in book form.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, it would.
Somebody should do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure lots of people do in fanfic, but we need official stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I haven't read fanfic. There's probably some from fanfic out there.
I'm sure there is. I haven't read it either, but I'm sure there is. If it's a dream sequence, if it's child's human toys, and it makes sense why there are not more individual actions going on. Maybe this is an alien child story of a human child story being told. Yeah, who knows?
It's very Twilight Zone.
What did you say? There's no toilets.
No, it seems very Twilight Zone.
Oh, very Twilight Zone.
Yeah, because there is an episode of Twilight Zone where there's an alien child playing with humans.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Julie comes around, she'll know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking of Dark I was thinking of something similar, but no, not Dark City. Dark. What's the one that's kind of like Twilight Zone that was
Black Mirror?
No, there was a show a long time ago. It was called
Outer Limits?
No. Well, Outer Limits is one, and it might have been Outer Limits I was thinking of. There was another one too that started with a D. I think it was called Dark something. But yeah. Tardy to the party. Well, thank you for coming, DJ, even if you're late. No, it wasn't Dark Matter. This was like an old show. It was like it was kind of like Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. I just couldn't remember what it was called. But I think the one I was thinking of, actually was Outer Limits. And yes, Papa Socks is right. If you haven't, please take a minute to like and subscribe to the channel. Also check out Julie's channel, which is in the description of the video, and make sure that you subscribe to Discord for our watch parties and our schedules and all that good stuff. And if you need to talk to us or find out when things are going on, you can always do that at Discord or at our various social medias, which I never remember to put the banners up for, and I should. But everything's always SciFi Mission. And then also, if you missed my announcement at the beginning of the show, starting next Sunday, Scarlet and I are going to be talking about the new season of Yellowjackets. We're going to put a pause on for right now since we finished the first season. We will revisit at some point closer to the fourth season, or when we have more free time. At some point we'll come back to it. If people still want to see it and want to do watch parties or whatever, that's a possibility. But for right now, we're switching gears with the new season coming up. So those will be Sundays at 10:30 with depending whether or not we drop the episode live. I guess the watch party will probably be at either 8 or 9. If we don't drop it live on Friday, then we'll probably play it twice on Sunday. But
well, there's also 2 episodes too.
Oh, that's true. Well, then in that case, this week coming up, the watch party will definitely be at 8 o'clock or early, 8 o'clock. But we will. I will put the watch. Well, the watch party schedule. I think I already have it set up in Discord, but the live stream's already been set up. But you can always find that on social medias. But that's where we're headed here. Fix that 15 here with only 8. Fix that. Oh, yeah. We need more people in the chat. I would agree with that, DJ. A lot of times I think we're overlapping with other live streams. That's part of the issue.
Plus the Super Bowl was earlier.
And also because the Super Bowl was earlier.
Super Bowl.
Which I did not know till yesterday. We were on live stream talking about Severance, and Karen mentioned it, and I was so embarrassed. I'm like, tomorrow's the Super Bowl? How did I not know that? So yeah, the Super Bowl was tonight. You can tell that I love football.
Me and my boyfriend watched a Puppy Bowl, so that's what we did.
Yeah, Puppy Bowl's awesome. I've watched that a couple times. And yes, Golden Child, Dark Matter, Sci-Fi Channel Dark Matter was awesome. I have season 1 on DVD. I don't think I have the other ones. And then
so that's an anthology series.
No, Dark Matter for Sci-Fi Channel was about these people in space that were, I don't know, it's good. They were originally, it was kind of like I'm trying to remember. I think it was sort of like a Firefly type scenario, like they were all criminals or something.
Okay.
And but it's good. And no, I mean, like they started out originally were criminals and then they all ended up together. That was good. Dark Matter, it's been forever since I've seen it. One of them's a robot.
I think I was getting mixed up with Black Mirror.
Yeah. The newer Dark Matter on Apple TV, I liked. Golden Child apparently did not like. I liked. And that's coming back soon. All right. So where was I? I lost where I was. Okay. So Boyd is in and the other thing. Okay. Sorry. I do that. I'm like, oh yeah. Another thing that I probably should mention again is, because I didn't mention this, not starting on Tuesday for Severance, we will be speaking with the woman who plays Natalie on Severance, Sydney Cole Alexander. It's going to be pre-recorded, but you can send questions for her in our Discord or on Twitter, X, as you can see the link on the screen. And we'll get them asked, and then we're going to be premiering that sometime next week. So just look for that on Sci-Fi Vision YouTube. But yeah, that's coming up too. And then of course our other weekly show on Tuesday. All right, now back to what I was saying. Boyd is in the woods with Sarah again, and they are following where the light is coming from, which we know is from the lighthouse. They hear the foghorn. Well, they don't know yet, but we do. She's like, is this a good idea? We're just going towards this. She's trying to get him to stop. And he's like, well, we don't know how to get back to town. The only thing we know is there's a light coming from somewhere, so we're following it. And she's like, well, what if they don't want to help us? And he's like, well, that's another problem. But she starts talking about the voice she heard and that it's different than the voice she heard before. And this is where she asks who Mr. Fish and Loaves is. And he says it was a nickname he was given in the service, and only 2 people knew, his wife and Ellis. And she asks if he thinks that's what's happening. She's sending him a message, and she says that she brought him here because she thought she could help with him with something, and whoever's voice told them to go back, and what would happen if they stayed out there. Now, we talked about this before. I think that we I saw that, Fletcher. Will Natty bring the board for the interview? I'll have to ask her that. That's funny. Maybe she can.
It'll just be her on a headset, and when you ask questions.
Yeah. I should tell her. Put her on a headset. Yeah, if she comes with earbuds, that would be funny. Hey, Doc. I know what I was saying. So we kind of agreed, I think, before that we think that it was really Abby that spoke to Sarah, right? I think we kind of came to that conclusion. We all thought that. The 3 of us thought that. But saying that Abby told them to go back. I guess the point is Boyd saying, yeah, but we don't know how to go back, so we can't. So it's kind of like, what do we do? But this is when he sees, and he's like, we're assuming hallucinators come out of the ground and biting him. And he wants it bites him. And I'm a little bit ahead of the pictures here. Sorry. And then after that happens, she helps him pull one off of him. And this is where I said in the chat, I'd be really useless here, because unless it was like somebody that was like a family member I cared about and like really cared if they died or not, I'd probably be like,
or else you're just like, oh, that looks great.
You're on your own. No, I would probably help them, but I would get like a stick, and I'm not joking. Like I would get a stick and like put it off.
Those are probably SAG-guard holding actor spiders, so you need to be delicate with them.
Yeah,
You can't just hit him with a stick. You know, you can't just knock him off the back.
Yeah, they didn't even use real. They look digital, but still, digital spiders I'd be okay with. But
I don't
otherwise,
think the one she pulled off the back looked. I thought that was practical.
really, maybe it
I
was
think
plastic
so.
or something. Then it didn't look real to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Julie got a picture. We'll see. Let's see. I said this before. Sarah wanted Boyd to turn around before the spiders, and after the spider bites him, she was like, "We have to keep going." With the what?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did kind of change, but I think she was saying we need to go back instead of go more into the danger. But then after that, she's more like, you have to keep moving and not pass out. So I feel like that's a little different. But
that's what I thought too. Is like she don't want to die.
yeah, but there's a lot of really big webs there.
Yep.
That I would be fine if we never saw again. And he sees Abby. He's like, boy, I don't know what she says. I forget. But then she screams at him and grabs him. And
I honestly thought the giant spider was going to come down and collect her, you know.
Yeah, I thought there would be one too. But then all those little ones come out and start crawling on him. And he's like, get off of me, and starts flipping out, which I don't blame him.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one on him. And then the one on his back, she pulls off. Yeah, that does not look real. I mean, it might be practical.
That one doesn't look real. I mean,
no,
this
and
moves.
I was gonna say it might be practical in the sense of like plastic or animatronic, but I also don't think that they would use a real spider because, as gross as I say, kill the spiders. I don't think even like with insects and stuff, they would want the actress to like purposely. Like, I don't think they'd be allowed to do that because if she pulled it off of them, she could like kill it if it was real.
Well, there's a humane society kind of thing. If you get somebody that deals with animals of any sort.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think they do it for that reason. Now, me, it's a spider. She could kill it, but for that reason, I don't think that they actually would use a real insect. And you can't really direct spiders. Okay. Papa Sock says, in multiple scenes, we see one person hearing something and the other person looking at them strangely, like in this scene. Any thoughts on what's going on? There are several examples of this. Yeah, I mean, isn't it all Sarah hearing things in this scene, though? No, I'm assuming he means in the last scene, not in Ethan's
Boyd
scene.
saw Abby.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Boyd did.
He didn't hear her. I guess he also heard her by default.
He heard her yell. I think it's just the town screwing around with them. I do tend to think that really was Abby that talked to her, though. That was definitely not. I don't think Abby that he saw.
Yeah, but he doesn't say anything to Sarah about it.
That's true, but then again, he's just busy screaming about the spiders. I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
He probably didn't have a chance. I mean, this I feel like is one of those things where we don't see them talking theories and telling people what happened, where he might have actually said something later and they just didn't tell us. I don't know.
No, I doubt it. I mean, because she asked him like what happened back there later in the episode, and he says nothing. He doesn't want to tell her.
That's true. He does say that. Yeah, you might be right. Maybe he didn't ever tell her then. I don't know.
And plus, there's a tendency to people to just look at each other strangely because it is Fromville.
Yeah. I think Sarah does later tell somebody that she saw the boy in white, though, doesn't she?
Eventually, Victor, but Victor's a long way off.
Yeah, okay. Victor in season 3. Yeah.
Okay, so this is again where they don't talk to each other.
Of course.
Because you would think that she would tell Boyd how she saved him, but I don't think they talk about it. Let's see. And Fletcher says, I think Sarah just wanted to get Boyd somewhere safe before night came. That's all. And yes, I agree. I think that was kind of the case. She's like, let's not go further into the danger. Let's go back. And then once they're there, she's like, we got to get out of here any way we can. So
yeah, just get somewhere safe.
Yeah,
they use a talisman at least somewhere.
Yeah, she gave it to him later. Boyd missed his chance of becoming the new Spider-Man. Yeah. That would be funny.
Spider-Man.
It wouldn't make sense, but it would be kind of funny.
With power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a colony house, and Ethan asks how they're going to get the tower up there. And Jim says they're going to hoist it, and when it's tall enough, they're going to send us some signal over the rooftops. Ethan says he wishes Victor was there, and that's where he says he must be doing a part that's important to the quest. That Victor's off doing something pretty important. And I remember thinking at this point, Victor did kind of disappear for a while, but obviously we find out later that he's waiting for Tabitha. So that's sort of foreshadowing that he is clearly doing something important later on. That's cool. The way that looks really cool. The way they filmed that with the shadows and stuff.
I would kind of like to have seen a little bit of Victor's sojourn down there for days. If he interacted with the monsters or, just hid.
I would too. This is I'm trying to think of the right way to word it. This is what I'm saying. You guys, you keep saying that. You need to write something. Write what you think happened. Write your own little story, and we'll go read it. I do think it would be cool though if they made like a graphic novel or something, just like of things that go on we don't see. They don't have to be important. Just
like meanwhile in the tunnels.
Yeah, that'd be cool. If I could draw, I'd draw a comic book and do that because it would be fun. But I can't draw that well. I mean, I can draw, but not well enough to make a comic book. Not unless it's AI created. So they are. This is back to Sarah and Boyd. She tells him she needs to look at the bites. He doesn't want her to. He doesn't want to talk. This is what Julie was talking about. He doesn't want to talk. He says, do you want to talk about Providence? And he starts saying, there's no way out of here. This place makes you think you're doing the right thing. It gives you hope, then takes it away like it's feeding on your pain. And I do think that a lot of times the town does do that. Like it's trying to destroy their hope and break him, like they've said, before. But he does say he's not feeling right and his head's bothering him. And I don't think, unless I'm misremembering, do we ever go back to this? I mean, he has her check the bite, but whatever it was that he was feeling strange, we never hear about again, do we?
Well, Christy checks him out later on.
Yeah, but I mean, other than she checks him out, like it's never affected him again. It wasn't like he was woozy for a while or something.
Yeah, as far as we know, he just went back to normal. I mean, once he came out of the dream state, he was actually doing better. I mean, he came out of it and he was still kind of staggering around when he went back to town. But then after that, his hand stopped shaking and he was physically doing better. It was just the worms that were
yeah, that was once he got the worms. But I just mean the fact that he's saying like his head feels funny and that, like, I expected at this point there to be some kind of fallout from the spider bites and they just sort of moved on. I don't know. Maybe he had to have the spider bites in order for the worms to go in. Who knows? But she does get him to keep going. She gives him his knife back, and that's when she's like, fine, give up and you'll never see your son again. Is that what you want? So yeah, she found a way to get him to go. And then they see the storm is coming. And that does not look good that there's storm coming. It's over here somewhere. That's where he stumbles and he's like not feeling good. Sorry, I'm behind on pictures again. Here we go.
Well, that's okay. It's like a little flip book.
Yeah, I know. They're looking up and they're like, there's storm. Okay.
They're looking up. Everyone's looking up.
They're looking up. Everybody's looking up. So they are pulling up the tower. And meanwhile, Jade, here in a second, as they're hoisting it up, he goes and he gets the bike and he lies to Jim and finally admits he's going to get his last rolling paper. And he's like, are you happy? He's like, this is what I'm doing. I don't care if you get upset. This is what I'm doing, is basically what he says. It's like, I know you take offense to my proclivities.
Yeah.
So he's going to get his dope, basically. Or, well, his rolling paper, his marijuana, whatever. He's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we flip to Tian Chen, who is at the altar that she has of her husband and the little offerings and things. And Jade comes in, and I love this scene. It's so sad, but yeah, this scene's really, I think, really powerful that she must have went back on the pictures. He went back out and came back in. But Jade comes in and he realizes that she's upset because if they leave, her husband's body will still be there, basically. And he tells a story of when his grandmother died, that he was in France with her and he didn't want to leave France because he felt like she was going to be there alone, even though she was dead. And he says that they go with us when we go, and that if she leaves, he'll still be with her. And that really helps her. And, she's like the one person that I don't know so much if she got Jade, but she's the one person that sort of doesn't judge Jade. And I think maybe that's why they get along so well. But yeah, I've always loved their friendship.
Well, she did judge him, but then Kenny said, "Oh, that's what you say to people about people you really like."
Yeah, and she was just
that he was crazy and he does complain all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, she doesn't. Other than like telling him he needs to do things, she doesn't. She isn't Jim. Let's put it that way, right? And she has him pray with her. And then I don't know if he ever got his cigarette or not, but
no, he has the last rolling paper when he's talking to like Clara next season about the storm. He has the last rolling paper.
So
then he sees Jasper, which is great.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is with Jim explaining the radio to Ethan, which is, I guess, more of him explaining the radio to us because Ethan really didn't need to know it. Jade comes in and he's like, got snap. Well, it's
Well, I think it's also another scene of him bonding with his kids, so we don't hate him.
Yeah, that's fair. So we hate him a little less here. Jade comes up. He's like, I got snacks, but he's like, I don't know, like he's all like in a good mood. I guess because he talked to Tina and Shen, because that's why I was saying he didn't get his.
Well, drugs, I mean, he prayed and locked into his spiritual side, and he's also happy about the radio tower. And I think they exchange a little bromance. He throws an apple knowledge. Little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Yeah, I think there was a little bromance going on there.
Yeah. No, it was a cute scene. And then he comes in. He's like, "If you screw this up, you're going in the box."
You ding dongs.
Yeah, ding dongs. That's the thing. And that soundbite Dieter plays in the channel.
You ding dongs. Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, no, it's a cute little scene. And he's just like in a good mood. He's like, "You aren't going to ruin my mood." And then he rings the bell. That's why I wondered at first if maybe he got his drugs, but I think if he got the marijuana, he'd be like more calm, not running around like he is. So
yeah, I think he says something to Jim like, "I didn't do the pot. I didn't smoke pot." It's something similar when he came in.
Something like that.
He was collecting snacks instead of lighting up.
Yeah, exactly. And this was where he rings the bell there, but I had written this down. I had asked people in the chat. Jade got vertigo, I guess, from climbing trees, which is why he didn't like climbing trees. It wasn't that he was afraid of heights. Yeah. Because at this point, I was thinking, if he's afraid of heights, why would he be the one on the roof? But I guess it's not a height thing, so that makes slightly more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. This is when they talk. And he looks like he's hiding something in the basket. I think he's just nervous, but I noticed the way he does that, like he technically could have been. Did you notice that? Like he kind of like covers it with whatever's there, the food. But yeah, I don't think there's really anything. I just, trying to pick up things. But he's
writing a love poem to Christy.
Yeah, maybe. But she's saying, that there's a part of her that hopes that Marielle didn't move on and is there when she gets back. But the other part of her wants to be with him. And she doesn't know what she's going to do. And it's just kind of sad. And I think we should have known at this point something bad was going to happen. Then let's see.
Yeah, that makes me feel like she's leaning more towards him and making a decision like, well, I might as well be with him. I'm going to move in that direction.
Yeah, I think she was. And I think maybe if they got out of there, she might have. But we will never know because she doesn't get out of there. And Marielle ends up there. Honestly, I don't love Marielle. I would have rather seen her stay with Kenny, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, and there's some significance of it being a Grand Rapids runner too, because she's like, I barely got out of the Grand Rapids, and here comes this Grand Rapids bus.
Yeah, that's why I said I definitely think that was so we realized that, there's Jim with his apple trying to fix the radio tower. Now, Papa Sox says, does anyone think the signal worked? That's a good question. I was actually thinking about that today and wondering if it's possible that something got out of the town. But I think that wherever they're at is like so removed from the real world, whether it's a pocket universe, whether it's just hidden. I don't know that a signal could get out, or if it did, I don't think that they could get to there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I wonder, like, sometimes when I originally watched it, I thought they got somebody at first, and then when I
oh
found
yeah, at the
Rewatch,
very
I
beginning.
wondered if they got somebody from the outside world and then it was commandeered by an entity, making their voice the same,
Maybe.
changing
But I
the,
do think,
changing the, taking it over, I guess.
no, yeah, totally. I do think the voice was the same the whole time, but you're right, they could have copied the voice. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think like I said, I think this place is removed from our reality, so I don't know
Yeah,
that they have a possibility of that happening. But it would
they
be
can't go above
interesting
it.
to find out. It would be interesting to see the other side of it, and like that maybe it did, but or maybe like it got out, but there was nobody there to answer it, something like that. But I think if they were going to do that, they would have done it in season 2. So I would say probably it did not get out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I thought
no,
there'd be somebody in a plane or somebody that was getting a frequency and something would happen, but it did not.
yeah, they never. We never hear about it again until the man in yellow mentions about Tabitha way later. I'm not sure what this is about. People crushing other people in the vicinity act weird. I'm not sure if he
Oh,
means
Prussian?
Kenny.
Kenny. Oh, poor Kenny.
Yeah, I guess he means specifically Kenny. Was Marielle saying Christy was just 2 hours away relevant? Yeah, well, I think that the point of that conversation was just like saying you were that close this whole time and you didn't come to me when she was upset, but even when she wasn't, kind of like we were this close the whole time and didn't even know it.
I mean, she really wasn't understanding the, complexity of Fromville as well.
Right. Yeah, she hadn't been there long enough to know.
Yeah.
Papa says the tower was attacked later in the scene. Why tackle it if it's a waste of time? I don't know. And that's the one thing I wanted to talk about is the storm. Do we think the storm was because of the tower? Do we think the storm was because of what Tabitha was doing? Do we think the storm was irrelevant and had nothing to do with these things? I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? I assume he means from the storm. Because I'm kind of curious. Or was the storm because of what happened with Boyd and Sarah? It was trying to stop them from getting to the lighthouse is the other possibility.
Well, there's 2 references to it in this episode and then next season where 2 people say we made it angry, or the boy in white says you've angered it.
Right.
Right.
So assuming it's an entity or something that they've angered.
It's just
right, but I mean, you think it was the tower that angered it, not her digging or Boyd and Sarah necessarily. You think specifically the tower.
Well, the action, the pushing too, because Victor says something about like if you push too hard, it pushes back. Something to that effect.
Yeah, and Sarah said that Nathan believed that if you push too hard, then somehow this place will push back. And I think it's a result of all of their actions that caused it. Boyd and Sarah going into the woods, everyone working on the radio tower, and Tabitha digging in the basement. I think it was. I think the storm came as a result of all of them trying to escape, and they were all affected in different ways. I mean, for Tabitha, it was mainly that the house was collapsed on her. But I mean, the storm threatened Boyd and Sarah's lives. Yeah, they had to get into the tree. The radio tower came down. I don't think the tower had any hope of actually working, but it was just the fact that they were trying to escape that was what angered the place or the big bad. So it's not how effective it is. It's that the fact that they're actually trying to get out.
Yeah. Well, they were pissed at any rate. Golden Child says the man in yellow created that storm, and that is definitely very possible. Because we just don't know, but it's possible. And let's see. It's funny how in season 1 it was forbidden to go into the woods almost, and in season 3 everybody's walking around and learning how to drive. It's mental. I agree with you because I have been saying from the beginning, and I said this, I think it was last week I said this, I think they should be mapping out what else is in the woods and how far they can go and taking those cars while they still have working cars and driving around as far as they can go with the talisman, just in case there is a possibility. Like if they go to the edge of the forest, does it take them back to town? I'd like to know.
Or they could take a long, long look at that map in the Peaches truck that Victor has.
And figure out exactly where everything. I mean, they found the cannibal village with all the food. How do they know if they go the other direction, they might not find something that could really help them? We don't know. But I do think it's kind of interesting that they never go back out for a while. And I guess they're busy and bad things are happening. But I feel like the excuse that people were murdered and things that they're not doing things because of the murders and everything else, I feel like only works so far, so long. And I do think I've said multiple times in the past, I do think that they should be looking at different places. And hey, Martin, welcome.
Because like
Sorry,
that's okay.
No, sorry, go ahead. No, I just said sorry. He missed.
No, it just looks like it almost looks like there's purple arrows on that map where Victor's mapped out where the faraway trees are and where they go. Like he's mapped out a good part of the city and a good part of the woods and everything around them, but nobody looks at it. Like in season 3, Jay just stands in front of it and nobody turns around and actually looks at it and tries to make sense out of it.
I agree. This is another idea of people not talking to each other. Excuse me. I definitely
you think they'd talk to Victor if anybody, because Victor's been around there the longest.
Victor knows things. Talk to him. Martin says, I feel the storm is to destroy the tower and the equipment. Well, it definitely accomplished that at any rate. Papa says it could be a combination. The entity could be angered because their actions will disrupt any rescue efforts, break the curse efforts, save the children efforts. It could be a lot of things. Fletcher says, I know this possibility is stupid, but I would grab a bunch of people on that Colony House van and go to the fallen tree and try to remove it and drive by to see what happens. Probably nothing good. That's not a bad idea. That would be the kind of thing I would say to try to. And that's kind of where I'm saying, like, they need to see where they can go, what they can do, experiment, do things like that.
Or do they just go back around again, like in a loop, like they do when they first come?
Yeah. Eventually they might. I don't know. I assume that the woods loops around too. But who knows? What if they actually were brave enough to walk through the woods or drive through the woods? What if they could find a way out?
Yeah.
They'll never know because they never do it. They need to do it. Sidetracking for a second, I was going to answer. Fletcher says, when is 9 Bodies coming out? Now, Just Me says it's March 2nd for the UK, but not sure if that helps. It is a different date in the UK because it's a different network. I think it might even be BBC. I'm not 100% sure. As far as I know, there is not a date yet. As I've said, when I get a date, I will tell you guys. I'm guessing it's probably in March, but that is a complete guess. The only thing I know is when the junket is, which is the end of this month. So the press, the interviews will be at some point soon, but they also may be embargoed. So it could still be months out, but it is a good show. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, it's 9 Bodies in the Mexican Morgue. It's an MGM show that is coming. But yeah, that's for here in the US. The UK, I think, is different because it's being released by a different network. But yeah, they need to look at the map in the Peach truck. I totally agree. So that's a cool picture. Clouds.
Yeah, the clouds are great.
They are. That picture looks kind of bad. He looks like he's grabbing her, doesn't he? Sorry, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really, I like that. That's a great picture too. So they're trying to use the radio. The storm's coming. Sorry, we're getting behind in pictures again. Lift it up.
Ethan tries to Jim's throat with his feet. Ethan tries to crush Jim's throat with his legs because he's a man of yellow.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe do it back then. So the tower goes up. That's a good view of it. And I think that house, it reminds me of Bates Motel house. Yeah, because I know at Universal, like they have that house. I did see that when I was in California. It's just that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So they're fixing the lights, turning them all on at once, and they're gonna test the radio. And he turns it on, and Jade's like, yes.
And he just hugs this guy.
Yeah, because they do get a signal out. Well, I think they do say they got a signal. They say, because he asked earlier, did they get a signal? It says, we got power, we got a signal. So they got a signal. It's the fact of, does their signal connect to another radio is more the issue. It's not, because we were saying, did they get a signal? Yes, they got a signal. Just may not connect to anybody else. Okay, she's happy. She kisses them. The relationship is suddenly all great. And they're happy.
He doesn't have to try to touch her or kiss her like he's done prior.
Yeah. They're just all happy. And then Claire's like, guys, there's this big ass black cloud. We got to do something. We can't stand here. I have to wonder, did they not notice the storm coming earlier? Because I have to wonder that they decided to put the tower up now. Because in my opinion, when they seen the storm coming, they should have been like, you know what? Let's tie down the tower. We'll try again next time. We don't want to risk losing it. But of course they don't.
I think the entity just made it come up real quick.
It came too fast. It was bright and sunny when they put the tower up. There was no sign of a storm.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Again, I have how there's multiple mentions of towers. We have the tower. We know there's a tower in the map. There's the lighthouse tower and the tower that they're fixing. Sarah says they got to find shelter. Now, this is the one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I know that we're getting kind of close on time, but I did want to ask you guys what you thought about. We never really know anybody's motivations on the show. I mean, we don't truly know who's good and who's bad and the reasons they do things. I was thinking about the fact that they saw the lighthouse, they hear the foghorn. Now, whether it's just because they're not ready, it's not time yet, isn't necessarily a bad reason. But I kind of wondered if the reason the boy in white shows up isn't to help them get away from the storm, but to stop them from going towards the lighthouse. Like, because I thought about the fact that they're out there, they see this lighthouse, they never go back again. You know, Tabby later finds out the significance, but like they just kind of left in the middle of their quest or whatever. And I just wonder if that's significant.
Yeah, I think they definitely. I think it's a territorial line they can't cross unless they're ready, like we said before.
Yeah.
Even with the boy in white, he's not leading them to the lighthouse. He's leading Sarah to a faraway tree.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the leading them maybe isn't so much about saving them and giving them a safe place so much as it is stopping them from going there.
Yeah, maybe.
What I was kind of thinking, regardless of whether it's for good or bad or whatever the reason. Could be that. She's like, we got it. Come on, we can do it. You can do it. Let's go.
You can do it.
You can do it. They're wet. There's rain.
Yes.
And there's the lighthouse. That's a good picture. I mean, the lighthouse is totally digital, but it's a good picture. It's like a matte painting or something. I was gonna just pick a couple of the things here before we move on. I like Victor, but he's suspicious, and I'm not sure about him disappearing all the time. It's almost like he's invisible. No one seems to care about his whereabouts. I think that's the biggest thing, Alice. I think people don't care enough, and they should. I think Victor's important, and nobody gives him the credit he deserves.
Well, people were asking where he was, but nobody was taking the effort to search.
Exactly. It's like they mention it, but then they kind of move on. I mean, Jim did say to Ethan, oh, he's probably fine, but that's not really.
Well, then Ethan was like, well, he's on a quest. He's doing something important. So Ethan knew right where he was, I guess.
Yeah.
Man in yellow. Ethan. That was
all.
all.
Said the storm was because of Jim, because Tabitha wasn't back at the hole and Sarah and Boyd weren't at the lighthouse yet. So yes, it could have been all three. I was just going to say though too, that lighthouse does look kind of out of place. I think it's just because it's been added digitally. I don't know that there's any meaning, but it does look kind of odd. But there's the light from it. And then meanwhile,
well, and also I think I have seen some lighthouses like this in pictures because I did a little research, and it's usually when like water's gone away. So I think the flood might be coming in another season. It might fill up with water again.
Maybe, because it is kind of odd that the lighthouse isn't where the water is. And we talked about this before. Lighthouses are supposed to be at the water, and it is on a rock. So, I mean, not that they aren't on rocks, but they're usually near the water.
Yeah.
Alice says, I think Manuel was upset about Tabby kissing Jim, so he came like a storm. That might be the case, Alice. So he's like, Mayday, Mayday, we need somebody. Now, I have a question to you guys about this, though, as he's calling somebody. Let's go. Oh, that's a good picture. So he's trying to get a hold of somebody, and they're all watching him. Now, at a certain point, he gets a hold of who we are later find out.
So the smoke monster moment. I feel like that's almost smoke monstery, the big black cloud.
It kind of is, yeah, trying to stop him. But he gets a hold of the person who we later find out. Donna says, tell him to go inside. It's not safe. And instead of listening and putting the radio away, he's just like, you go inside. You'll be safe, kid. But he gets who we later find out is the man in yellow. I have a couple questions about this, though, because, okay, first of all, I started to think going too far down the rabbit hole where I'm thinking, Donna's telling him to stop. Maybe she's a mole. She's telling him to stop. It would actually kind of make sense here. I don't think she is, but the thing is there are other people around when he gets through. Okay. There's clearly at least one person that's standing right behind him. Now, Donna and Jim are freaked out. Nobody else ever mentions it, is ever freaked out, never even tries to contact somebody again. And I just, it seems strange to me that they never bring up the radio again. I mean, I guess it's just a plot point and it's kind of the way it goes, but does that seem strange to you? Because that's kind of annoyed me after this.
Yeah, I think somebody else would have heard, but it is a plot device, Yeah. I gotta mute my mic for a sec.
Okay, that's fine. No, but I just feel like even if they hadn't heard what they said, they would have been trying to get them to contact somebody else. But if they had heard, I feel like there would have been some discussion, and there's clearly another person standing behind them.
Oh yeah, right within earshot. Yeah.
So that kind of irritated me. But I mean, again, I think it's the way they move the plot, and it's just something you have to kind of move on from. But it's just strange to me that they know they got a signal, according to Jim and Jade. I don't know what happened, why that's doing that. They know they got a signal, but yet nobody ever tries again. Just one of those things that's going to annoy me.
Yeah.
I also thought about the fact that, like, this is a warning, clearly. And it's also a warning about what Tabitha's doing. Because he says, she shouldn't be digging that hole. And then she falls. But, it also kind of made me, there's different factions of monsters that we see with the man in yellow later. But as I was thinking about it, I was kind of thinking, like, is it possible that he actually meant it as a warning? Like, the creatures are down there. You don't want her digging down there. She's going to end up far. Like, it could have been, at this point, it could have been taken that way, but no one seemed to take it that way. And now we know that it was malicious, but I
understand how people, but it sounded way too sinister to me. It was just too sinister, though, too late by the time he got that one. I always took it to be a threat.
Just thinking back at it, the way, some things aren't what you think and that they twist things. As I watched this, I was like kind of thinking nobody ever took it that. I don't know why we didn't, I guess. I'm not saying that, but I was thinking about how, like, all of a sudden there's all this bad weather, like somebody could have shaken up where they're at, and like the way the ground cracked, like it almost was like somebody threw their snow globe and everything went to hell. I was thinking that as I was watching this.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Tabitha, okay, this is after that. He's like, your wife shouldn't be digging that hole, and that's where that scene ends. And then he runs after, and Julie's like, where's my dad? Where's he going? And I don't think Dawn even answers her at that point. All the lights blow, and that's where Clara gets glass in her eye, but I don't think they show that. And then here, there's like almost like a fault line she hits, and it cracks, and the earth splits open. but also she notices that the wires go to nowhere, which is kind of interesting. Well, not kind of. That was very interesting. That to me was a big like. Well, then we know something's up with the way the electricity is set. And that was when at this point I still thought it was all in Victor's head, but I don't now. There's that sign, yeah. Wasn't that like about a vacation or something?
Yeah.
Something nice and happy that clearly this is not.
Get away. It's
Get away. That's what it said. Yeah, get away.
It's the ultimate irony. The evil entity taunting them in their faces because they literally can't get away. I think it's hilarious.
It is. But Tabitha has fallen. There's her broken lantern. She looks up. You see all the dust. That's where she sees the electric cord just kind of dangling there in the middle of the air that they don't connect to anything. And then you see a flashlight, which is Victor. And he says, let's see. He says that the boy in white said that she would be there and he was to wait and that we have to go. It's not safe here. This is where they sleep. And then he said, see, they make drawings too. And he shows the cave wall here in a second. We'll get once I get through all the pictures, we'll get to it. And we'll talk about that before we exit. But there's the cave wall. We see a couple. That one's a little bit better picture of it. And I'll go back to it. I'm just zipping through to the end of the episode. Then we'll go back and talk about the painting, the symbol and everything. And they're underneath the ground. And let's see. Then back in the town. Okay, Jim runs in and he finds out that it is collapsed and that she's down there somewhere, and he starts, yelling for her. And meanwhile, Boyd also falls. And she's like, we have to get out of here. He says, one of us has to get out of here. We don't both want to die. You at least have to go and tell them what happened. And she's like, I'm not leaving you. And the boy in white is there. And she says that he tells her to get in the tree and they will be safe. Although I question, somebody said earlier, I forget who it was in the chat, and they do kind of wonder, did he mean both of them would be safe or Sarah would be safe? I'm not sure if he says both of you or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's ambiguous. He says you'll be safe to Sarah, and she assumes that means both of them. She says to Boyd, we'll be safe, but he might have just meant her. So it's possible he only meant her and he knew something bad was going to happen to Boyd, but it was either this or he was going to die out there. So I think this was him helping, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, something bad happened to Boyd as a result, but I think he would have died out there if
I think he might have. Why do you think he talks telepathically to Sarah, though? I tend to think maybe, and I don't know, but I wonder if they intended to always have him speak telepathically, but it didn't play real well. So they decided later to have him talk, because I think I don't know. I think it looks kind of silly, and I wonder if they just changed it because of that. I don't know. Do you think there's a reason that he doesn't talk out loud to Sarah, but he does to the other ones?
I mean, they might have done it. They might have changed it later for the reason you said. I think it would make sense to speak to her that way, because he's probably aware that she is susceptible to listening to what voices in her head tell her to do, and so maybe this way she'll be more likely to listen to him and do what he's saying, and he's trying to help. So I took it to mean that.
I guess that's possible. I just kind of thought it looked kind of silly, which is why I automatically assumed that, but I don't know.
It was a little weird, yeah.
But the point is, she tells him she'll follow him, and she doesn't. He ends up in the well, and she ends up elsewhere, although she does hand him the talisman before he goes in. And then he finds out he's stuck in the well, and that's a really cool shot. And sorry, I know I'm kind of zipping through this, but I really want to get through it just because I can't stay on much longer.
That's fine.
I'm trying to get through it. I got to get up at like 6:30. Then let's see. The song that plays is "Everyone Knows This Is Nowhere." We talk about it being a place out of space, out of time, whatever. And as this happens, the bus pulls up. Now, I did want to mention one thing, and I don't know if it's relevant or it's just kind of a storytelling device. But what I find interesting, I was thinking about when I watched this, is that nobody is actually there to hear the music but us. So, like, usually whatever plays the music to mess with people, right? So why is there nobody there to listen? I mean, is it just really just a storytelling device to be like cool and dramatic, I guess?
Yeah, it's just for our benefit, I think. It's, in this case, I think it's a storytelling device, especially when you hear like the lyrics of the song talk about, a woman left behind, that this person wants to go back to, and who's on the bus, Marielle, the woman Christy wanted to go home to, and now she's there. So I think it was a hint to that too.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was interesting that nobody, whoops, I clicked out of the thing, that nobody is actually hearing it but us. I just thought it was a little interesting.
I think it did that in episode 1 too.
It might have. I just happened to notice it now.
Sarah closed up the diner for the day and left, and the jukebox came on and played that song while Boyd was ringing the bell. What was it? It was in the first episode. I can't remember what it was called now, but yeah, got to get out of this place. We got to get out of this place. That was it. So it was a nice bookend to the beginning and the end of the season. They bookended things in a really clever way, actually. The finger puppets bookended at the beginning and the end, and the diner radio, a jukebox turning on by itself, playing the song.
Yeah, well, I mean, it works either way. I just hadn't noticed it before. All right, the cave. Now, we have talked about some of this before. I know we have. We'll do a quick, I know we could probably stay here for hours, but let's just do kind of a quick with the cave paintings. And when we eventually come back to discuss season 2, I know we can always talk about it later. But so what do we see here? We see over here, it looks like there's the symbols from the talisman, the runes. We see the symbol that Jade's been drawing and what I'm assuming is supposed to be. Now, at this point, we don't know this kind of stuff, but I'm assuming that's supposed to be the stone slabs that the children are sacrificed on.
Yeah.
7 of them. And there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people standing there. So are those the parents, I guess?
Yeah.
And why are there 2 people over here? This is probably Jade and
Tabitha.
They're the people they're reincarnating from, trying to stop it, I would say.
Yeah, that's why they're separate, because they didn't participate. And the ones near the slabs, there are 10 of them, and they must represent the people who sacrificed their kids. And it's just cool how they put 10 of them there, and then Jade and Tabitha make 12. And we had that little clue. The answer is 12. Jade figured out that the music notes, the scale, that's how he was able to crack the code and the numbers in the bottle. Yeah. And there were apparently 12 creatures standing around when Smiley was reborn too. So I wonder, like some people wonder.
Important.
Yeah. 12 is just an important number. Some people wonder, like, did the whole town sacrifice the kids, or is it just a large group of them? And I think it had to have been the whole town, because it would be kind of cruel to punish all of them if it was just
either 10. It was the whole town, or that they did it and then they killed the rest of the town. I guess that's also a possibility.
Yes, because there are more than 10 monsters, and there are more than the 12 that we saw in that cave too.
There is. I still wonder if some of those runes are supposed to represent trees.
Yeah, definitely.
Walk like trees, the little F thingies.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah. Now
are
we
they
also
same ones of the talismans?
The what?
Are they the same trees on the talismans? Do they look the same?
They do. I just wondered, like, because at one time on that map they looked like trees in a forest.
Yeah.
So we have red figures. I'm not sure what those per se specifically represent. We have figures over here. Some of it's hard to see. I know there's been clearer pictures elsewhere, but this
Mhm.
looks like a little house. It looks like birds, maybe the crows. And I don't know what that is. The cave, maybe. I don't know what this thing is.
Maybe dragon's teeth.
Oh, is that what that thing is you're talking about?
The
Yeah.
dragon's teeth. Yeah, it's like the dragon's mouth.
That's interesting. We'll have to another time go into. Now this looks like people in boats. I
Mhm.
forget. I know there's been theories what that means, and I don't remember.
Mhm.
Enlighten me. What do people think the little boat thingies mean?
Oh, there's theories that that's how originally people got to Fromville instead of cars. They came by boat.
That kind of makes sense. I hadn't thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have this, which we think may be Smiley being reincarnated, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Smiley being reincarnated.
Yeah, I think it could be. It definitely looks like his whatever you want to call it, cape of gook.
His membrane, yeah.
His membrane, yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. I would at some point like to go in more depth to this, but I know that we could be here forever. Is there anything else that you can think of about the cave though that's like super important we should mention before we
I don't think so. I don't know if
we
Julie has anything.
talked about the other stuff before, some of it. The dragon's mouth has 11 teeth. They look like 11 flying birds. It looked like birds to me too, but
I can't unsee the dragon now. It's crazy. I enhanced. I made like an enhanced version of one of the images, and yeah, right there, that one right there, you can clearly see like the birds could be teeth. There's an eye, and and then there's a dragon's neck going down from the head. David Agil pointed this out in my chat, and I was like, oh my god, I can't unsee it now. Every time I look at this, I see a dragon, and it's not that a dragon is going to literally turn up on the show. It's symbolic. It's
you mean
symbolic.
like this is an eye?
Yeah, that's the eye.
And then like the mouth.
And that's the mouth.
Yeah, I kind of see it. I don't know. To me, they look like birds, but I kind of see what you're saying, what he's saying, I guess I should say.
I think it's definitely symbolic. We're not going to see an actual dragon. I think season 4, we're going to, like, as he also thinks, like, there's going to be a huge massacre, and the dragon kind of represents that. All hell is going to break loose.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're going to at some point see the massacre. I would agree with that. What is this thing of all those little? I don't know what that is. It's hard to tell. Little symbols or something. I don't know. But yeah, we will I guess pick this up when we continue with season 2. But yeah, well, if you guys don't have anything else to add, I guess we'll leave it at that. It is getting late. I'm sorry that I have to hop. That's not to say you guys, if you want to stay, can't stay and talk. I really do. I got to get up at 6:30 and I have some screeners I need to watch, so I can't stay all night. But
well, I gotta get up early too.
I get up early too. So
yeah,
I've got a lot of stuff I got to do too. So
we all do. We all have too much to do. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Again, please take a minute, like and subscribe. Check out Julie's channel that's in the description, and like and subscribe to hers as well. Remember that our next thing is Tuesday at 10 is our next live stream, which is Paradise, and I'm not sure what else, whatever else has been on in the week, whatever we've seen. I will put that on the schedule. And then Tuesday, we also will be talking to Sydney Cole-Alexander, who plays Natalie in Severance. That'll be a pre-recorded interview. You can send us your questions either in Discord, which is still pinned in the chat, or through Twitter, which is on the bottom of the screen. You can see going right now. You can send us your questions for her there. Just please do so before too late on Tuesday. Because we're talking to her sort of towards evening. So as long as we get them before then, we'll ask them. And then we will be airing it sometime later in the week. You can look for that schedule on YouTube. It'll be within a couple days of that. We'll air the video interview. We'll do a YouTube premiere. So please check that out. And then, of course, Saturday at 9 p.m. is our Severance live stream. And Sunday, next week from today at 10:30 will be me and Scarlett's new show for Yellowjackets. And of course, an hour before those live streams are always, except in the case of Yellowjackets, we're going to start at 8, but usually an hour to an hour and a half before the live streams are the watch parties, which all that information is in Discord. Please make sure that you do join Discord if you haven't, so you can find out all the information. And again, if you want to support the channel, I have my tree design up on light fabrics. There's that tree I had made before is up at Redbubble. But thanks, guys, for coming. Hope to see you again soon. Hope to see you guys for the next watch party. And I guess I'll see some of you on Tuesday. And
Scarlet
then
and I will be doing our Severance live Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern as usual.
Yeah, yours is on Monday. Ours is on Saturday. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is if we can, depending what time it is, because we don't want to overlap with the Severance watch party and screw it up. Because I know you guys all watch Severance, but if Yellowjackets drops at a different time, because it actually comes out Friday, if it's at midnight or something like that, we'll probably be dropping them live if we can, in addition to Sunday. So yeah, just check for updates.
I feel like it's kind of obnoxious when you don't know really when episodes are going to drop.
Yeah, well, it's hard, you
Yeah.
know. I wish they would just make a decision and like tell everybody, you know.
I thought it was going to be Sunday. No.
No, Sunday's the linear, right? It's actually on Friday. It
Cable.
drops. Yeah. So
Streaming on Friday. Last season was streaming on Friday, cable on Sunday.
Yeah. It sounds like it's Friday at midnight. If it is, then it'll be late enough. People can watch Severance in that if they choose to. But that's also if I can get it live to stream it. But we will definitely stream it Sunday.
Wait a minute. You mean so Friday at midnight, meaning like Thursday night, but technically Friday?
Yeah. But if it's too earlier in the night, I know people will want to watch Severance. That's why I'm saying it kind of depends when it is.
Yeah, because we have our watch party at 9 and voice chat, you know, then Scarlet can't watch until 10 and then we do voice chat. So yeah, that's lousy timing.
Yeah, well, maybe she can watch Severance and talk for a couple hours and then hop over and I don't know. Or she can watch it later. Scarlet can even watch it later. It's not like she can't see it, but we're gonna try to do that.
I might actually bite the bullet and get Showtime with Paramount Plus, which I don't want to do, but I probably will.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And I mean,
then I can watch it on my own.
If it's a few hours apart, and you might be able to do both or kind of hop back and forth, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. But you know, like I said, we'll still stream it Sunday night. So definitely come at 8 o'clock on Sunday for that as well. And we'll start Yellowjackets next Sunday, our stream. And that'll be a lot of fun. And if you have your own stream for YouTube and you do Yellowjacket stuff, let us know because we want to maybe collab with some people and get some fun stuff going. So if there is any more Severance interviews coming up, I will let you guys know. Trying to get Yellowjackets as well. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, just stay tuned to social media. And yeah, see you guys, I guess, Tuesday. So thanks everybody for coming. And thanks both of you for being here. And we'll continue our from at some point. All right, guys.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Take it easy, everyone.
Bye-bye.